It is a great honor to be at this great institution and to be invited by Turkish Review to speak before you. A place like this is, or a platform like this is very important to guarantee a fair and full discussion of difficult issues that are facing all of us in this region. A platform like this is very important to see the future today and to work for a better future for all of us. In looking at your alumni, and given the fact that this institution, I think, gave the country 2 prime ministers, I think the future prime minister is also from here. And I hope they will be prime ministers of a country that is prosperous, that is safe, and that is at peace with itself and with its surrounding. My topic today is about the ceasefire, current ceasefire, and how can we turn it into a permanent peace for all. Having come from Iraqi Kurdistan, I think it is key that our voice should be heard here, or our point of view of how we see things in Turkey. For us in Iraqi Kurdistan, we look at Turkey as an important partner of growth, of success, of prosperity, and of stability. We realize, although we are part of Iraq, but a key partner for us in this growth and the current prosperity that we see in Iraqi Kurdistan is partly, or in a large part, due to having a sane and a good neighbor, which is Turkey. And that's why when we look at events inside Turkey, we look at Turkey with great concern, and every internal event inside Turkey affects us in Iraqi Kurdistan. Up until very recently, up until the episode of ISIS, we used to say in Iraqi Kurdistan that the Shiites of Iraq have Iran, the Sunni Arabs of Iraq, they have the Sunni Arab states, and we in Iraqi Kurdistan, we the Kurds, have Turkey. But this has changed, I think, now. When ISIS first started, all of us thought at the beginning that it is an internal Sunni Shia issue, and it is a reaction to the Shiite-dominated government's policies that happened in Syria and in Iraq. But then soon we realized that the reality is different. When they started to attack the Christian houses in Mosul, in the areas that they took over, by writing the letter Nun N on their doors, Nasrani, when they committed and they forced them to either convert to Islam, die, or leave, or pay a tax to that state, when they took all their properties, when we saw that they are committing a genocide against the Yazidi Kurds of Iraq, we realized this is not a local problem. This is an international threat. This is a force of darkness that wants to take the entire region back to the Dark Ages. So we in Iraqi Kurdistan were extremely alarmed. And when they attacked Erbil, the night of the 15th of August, as Iraqi Kurds, and I was one of them, I was expecting the first plane that hits ISIS would be a Turkish plane. I was expecting that the first phone call of help that the president receives would be from President Erdogan, that the Iraqi Kurdistan president receives. But guess who was the first? Iran. Iran came to the rescue, And this moment, and then later, Iran was the first country that helped, and then the United States followed suit. And the rest is history. That moment turned many views inside Iraqi Kurdistan and amongst the Kurds in general. This was that Turkey, with all the help that is between Iraqi Kurdistan and Turkey, with all the oil pipelines, all the trade, and all the Turkish companies that exist in Erbil and are taking part in the construction and the reconstruction of Iraqi Kurdistan, they were expecting a lot more help. This was on one hand. This is as far as Iraqi Kurdistan is concerned. The other alarming statements or development that we heard in Iraqi Kurdistan, and it alarmed us a lot, was the statement that PKK and ISIS are the same. Equating PKK to ISIS, I think at a time when PKK fighters were chasing the ISIS fighters in Sinjar Mountains, in Kirkuk, in the various areas, in Mahmud to the south of Erbil, in the various areas, in Kobani, in the other areas, we all thought, as analysts and as commentators, we thought that this is a historic opportunity. The PKK and the Turkish states can be on the same side, and they can together get rid of this international threat and provide a new platform and create a new phase of their relationship. But instead, it pushed the process or the peace process back a few steps, and we were extremely alarmed to hear this. But at the same time, the events that followed after that, or the events that followed, what happened with ISIS, it did two things, and this is where we see an opportunity missed by the Turkish government. ISIS, when it came and attacked Iraqi Kurdistan, did two things. It united Kurds from all parts of Kurdistan. As we speak, there are fighters from Iraq, Turkey, Iran, and Syria who are all carrying arms and trying to stop the advances of ISIS on the territory, and are being helped with the international community's planes and military support. That took place. At the same time, it created that sense of unity amongst the Kurds was a great opportunity to be seized by Turkey, by the Turkish state or the Turkish government, and turn it into an opportunity to pave the way for peace. Because what we have now, looking at the situation inside Turkey, what we have now is a ceasefire. A ceasefire between the PKK and the Turkish government, but the challenge for all of us is to work towards turning this ceasefire into a real opportunity, into real, permanent, lasting peace. Looking at the peace process, I would like to say a few words about it. First of all, the peace process is not a process or talks between two men, one in prison and one in the presidential palace, through the intelligence services. This is a process that is supposed to lay down the foundation of a strategic, ongoing, lasting relationship between two peoples in the Middle East, the Turks and the Kurds. We in Iraqi Kurdistan, when we look at Turkey, a Turkey that has internal peace, that is at peace with its own Kurdish population, is very important for us. is key to our stability. Looking currently at the situation inside Turkey, it has to go beyond the current setup. The existing setup of the peace process inside Turkey are not conducive to creating a lasting peace between the two sides. First of all, in this age of social media and tweets, by now, I'm sure like my pictures are everywhere in social media, for example. In this age of social media, the peace process cannot be just between two men. One of them is not free. But at the same time, it is clear that over the past few years, that the Turkish government's interlocutor for peace is the PKK and its leader, Öcalan. If the Turkish government must not repeat the Israeli mistake of looking for others, for everyone else as peace partner, apart from President Arafat at the time. And when he died, it was too late. Now you see the mess that's happened. This is a reality that needs to be understood by all, and it needs to be pushed for. First of all, the Kurdish issue in Turkey cannot be solved by just the Turkish government. You need a partner. And a partner for that is a representative of the Kurds. And looking at the past few years' developments, the PKK and Öcalan proved that they can influence developments in the place. As I said, it also has to go beyond the two men and expand to a popular level. This is a great initiative, for example, to speak about it, to look at the real issues. Because they come from a long history of conflict, of blood, of tears, that cannot be just done by one statement between the two. The two people need to be on board with the leadership to make concessions, because any peace process is about making concessions and compromise to the opposite side. And the public need to be prepared for the concessions and the compromises that will have to be made. They have to be, and in this, they have to be transparent. Currently, I do not think that anybody, neither even in the AK party or in the PKK, know exactly what's going on at the process. There are some declarations that happen, but the exact peace process, the internal workings, I understand that issues at some point they can be secretive, but once they reach a certain stage, they have to be made public and they have to be made transparent to guarantee a public ownership of the final settlement. And this has not been seen yet. Given the deep issues, given the conflict, and given the polarity of this, that the polarization that existed inside Turkey over this issue, I think the presence of a third party in the talks, in the current peace process, to take it to a safe place will be important. And this third party can be local, regional, or international. The key thing is that the two sides to the peace process should agree on one. Looking at the external factors, standing in Turkey, looking at the external factors, currently there is a historic opportunity. Much of it has gone, but it's not too late. In Iraqi Kurdistan, which was always seen as a threat to Turkey, there is a clear commitment, a clear declaration by the KRG, by the president, by civil society, by everybody, that we all stand by peace inside Turkey. And we will support and push for any attempt that leads to a permanent, dignified settlement of the Kurdish issue within Turkey. This is one factor, and that is important. The other important factor is that ISIS is there, and the PKK, all Kurds are against ISIS. Turkey can capitalize, the Turkish government can capitalize on this and turn it into its advantage instead of standing in the middle, as it's being seen now by Iran, by the region, to be not knowing exactly which side to be on. The last few years, I think, were important. They moved from a bloody conflict with bloodshed, with tears, as I said, into a ceasefire. It is important that everyone is adamant that there is no return to the past. But not returning to the past is not just words. It needs to be followed by action. Standing here you will eventually end up going into the past. So passing the no return point is important by moving forward with the peace process and doing things differently than before. It is essential that the current peace process lays important, as I said, dignified foundations for the future relationship between the Turkish people and the Kurdish people around the Middle East. Thank you.